And welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. And as always, thanks so much for being here today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Well, we're going to highlight the Ivoryton Playhouse. And I have the pleasure of having Jacqui Hubbard here today, the Executive Artistic Director, as my guest. And Jacqui, so nice to have you here.
It's lovely to be back.
Again?
Yes.
You know what? We had talked before taping. This is your third time.
That's right. I know.
I'm thrilled that you're taking the time out to come from the theater to be here.
It's great. It gets me out of work for an hour, so perfect.
What I like to do, which we've done before, is go into your history first. Why don't you tell us about yourself and your background?
Sure. Well, I grew up in England, and I got into theater at a young age, just with local companies for children. I studied drama at university, and I ended up working for a theater in education group, which brought theater into schools and worked with kids on projects, on whatever they were studying, we dramatized it. It was a lot of fun. I won't get into the politics of it, but our grant was cut, and I ended up over here. And I've been here now since 1980. I go back every year. My family is still there. In fact, my mother, who is 85 years old, is coming to visit me on Sunday.
Oh, wonderful.
She has not been able to travel over here for the past few years, so I'm very excited about that. My daughter just had a baby a month ago.
Yes?
So she's going to be coming to visit her new great-grandchild, so that's all exciting.
So, P.S. on a private note, how is it being a grandma?
It's the best. It's just the best. I had no idea. But now I'm like, what time is it? I haven't seen the baby today. Just gonna run away. Fortunately, she's an old Lyme, so
I was just going to say, do you get to see the baby?
I do. A lot. Probably more than my daughter would like me. But I'm sorry. It's my first grandchild.
Exactly.
Yes.
Congratulations from all of us.
Thank you.
You know, I was watching our interview that we did in February this morning, and you had mentioned that you had been in radio. Tell us about that.
When I was 14 years old, a friend and I had got a little job at the local radio station, BBC Radio Teesside it was called, and it was the teenagers' point of view on records that were, you know, in the charts at the time, or anything. We were given a lot of freedom. And then when singers or actors came to town, we were allowed to interview them. I don't think at the time I realized how amazing that was. You know, some of these stars, they were just stars in England. American audiences wouldn't know them, but they were huge to us. And, you know, I think back at it now, and what a great opportunity that was. And I always thought I would end up in radio, because I did enjoy that. I enjoyed the fact that you could really dig deep into stories. It wasn't just about what things looked like. You know, you could go under the surface, and but it just didn't work out that way. I found my way into theater, and I'm still here.
And that was a question that I had thought about before. Did you think about, as a young person growing up, that you would be a performer in theater?
You know, I always loved performing. I'm the oldest of 5 children. I always directed my brothers and sisters, but I was always in it as well. It just seemed to me my natural path in life. And I have done other things. I have taught high school. I worked, certainly when I first came over here and couldn't get a job in theater, I worked in lots of different offices. I even ended up working for IBM briefly. It was not a good fit for me. And, you know, it's like a magnet. It just kept drawing me back. So it didn't matter how small or insignificant the role, I just had to be there. And even when it paid nothing, even when it was working long hours and working another job so I could keep doing that, it was not ever a choice. It was just something I had to do, like breathing.
What brought you over to America?
Well, at the time, I was dating a guy who was a civil engineer from Glasgow. And he got offered a job in the Florida Keys, and that seemed the most amazing, romantic place on earth to me. And so I thought I'd go over for the summer and spend the summer there. And then I never left.
You never left?
I never left this country. I mean, I went back home a year later because my mom was calling saying, hello, where are you? But yeah, I fell in love with the country. I love the Keys. I wasn't thrilled about the rest of Florida, but I was married to Ian for 20 years and we traveled all over the country, and I really had a great experience and was able to find theater companies in Florida. Was the Tampa Playmakers at the time. And then I was in City Lights in Savannah, Georgia, and the Savannah Theater Company. Savannah was a tremendous place for theater. We did Shakespeare in Forsyth Park. We did, again, a school touring group, which was wonderful. So I've managed to perform in a lot of different places in the country till I ended up here in Connecticut in 1990.
What brought you to this area?
The Baldwin Bridge. It was always a bridge. But yes, we came here for the building of the Baldwin Bridge. And I had been teaching high school in New York before that, so I assumed that that's what I would do here. But in my first weeks here, I drove through Ivoryton and saw the Playhouse and asked around and discovered that nobody used it from September through May. And so, of course, I had to call, and I didn't know a soul, and I didn't know what I'd do there, but I knew I had to do something. So they were very nice. Peg and Ed Quirin were the presidents of the board at the time, and they said, sure. It was so run down. The heating system didn't work. The electrical system was a nightmare. The basement was flooded. I thought it was heaven. And started doing children's shows, community shows, all kinds of stuff.
Good question. The history of the building, was it always a theater?
No, it was opened in 1911 as a recreation hall for the factory workers of the Comstock Cheney Piano Factory. So it was used as for dances, for some vaudeville acts came through, for silent movies. It was also kind of an ad hoc town hall. It had many uses, but as the Comstock Cheney factory, as piano production slowed down in this country, and the piano works hired less and less local people, they closed the recreation hall. And in 1930, Milton Stiefel, who was a stage manager from New York, suffering from exhaustion from a giant tour, was staying with his friends, I think Beatrice Lilly, in Old Lyme at the time, and he saw the Playhouse, and he saw the Comstock Cheney Hall, and thought it would be a great place to have a theater. So in 1930, he opened it up as a summer stock theater, and it ran purely as a summer stock theater from 1930 right up until 2005. There were a couple of years that it didn't have seasons. One year when the producer ran away with everybody's ticket money.
Oh,
I think that was in the 70s, 78, maybe. People in town still remember. And also, I think in the war years, there was times it didn't. And then, of course, COVID.
Yes.
Was the next time.
Yes.
But we're back. And we started in 2005, we began a year-round season. And we've been going strong, which is terrific, because I think people thought that the theater was a theater for tourists, that it was a theater that attracted people from out of state who come to Connecticut for the summers and live along the shoreline. And I think we have proved them wrong, that the theater is a theater for everyone. It is for people in the area as well as tourists. We had a concerted campaign to get local people to come, because I think that was still people who were born and raised in this area, that was still their idea of the Playhouse. It was a tourist summer theater. We consistently, when I started to do year-round, we gave free tickets to people who worked in restaurants and bars and local people who'd never set foot in the doors, just to say, come on in, this is yours. And now what we do is for local people who are in the hospitality industry, so they are working the nights that we are performing, we give them tickets to the dress rehearsal. We said, just come. come so you can get a chance to see that this is your theater.
Very nice.
And it's been really successful for us.
How has it been going from a summer theater to a year-round theater? You're mentioning 2005. We're at the end of 2022.
Right.
How has it been doing it year-round?
It was a struggle at first, and it was many years where we realized it's not that we can't do it. It is choosing the right shows. And that, for someone like myself who had an idea of, oh, we're going to produce this challenging drama, and now this is the perfect play to do, to realize, you know, it's not the perfect play for your audience. So really learning who the audience is, what they need. Like, for example, right now, post-COVID, we know what we need. We need to laugh, we need to sing, we need to come out of the theater feeling better than when we walked in. That's the most important thing. We don't have to just give fluff. It doesn't have to be all candy-coated, but it has to make people feel somehow better that they went out to the theater. They could stay at home and watch Netflix, for goodness sake. But we want a reason for you to come out. You're going to sit with this room full of people. You're going to share this experience as a community, and you're going to feel better for it. So that has really been what we've been looking at in choosing plays.
Okay, let's hold that thought. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You are tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
You matter.
You matter.
You matter.
And your words matter too.
Your words matter.
What you say in the hallways at school or in the student section at a game matters.
Words can be hurtful.
Words can be offensive.
Words can leave scars.
Words can also inspire.
Support and uplift.
You and your words.
Are they both important?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide, it provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Jacqui, one of the things that we don't want to forget is your calendar. Tell us what's happening at the end of 2022, and let's talk about 2023.
Sure. Well, today is our dress rehearsal for Winter Wonderettes.
Okay.
And this is our fun Christmas show. Traditionally, the Christmas show is the one thing, even when we were summer stock, for the last 30 years, we've had a Christmas show or a holiday show. Often something I wrote with community members, with a lot of audience participation. Coming from England, my background, my tradition for holiday shows is pantomime, which involves the audience with stories they know and songs they know. So we've been doing that for years now. So Winter Wonderettes takes place in 1968, and we have set it in Essex Hardware Store because we love the guys from Essex Hardware Store, and we wanted to sort of honor them a little bit. So we scavenged their store, and we've got the set covered in their bits and pieces. It's a fun piece. It's a vehicle for nostalgic holiday music with these 4 girls who are working at the hardware store, and they're doing a Christmas show for the employees. The audience gets a chance to participate. I won't tell you how, but there are, we do get audience members on the stage to do all kinds of silly things, and it's a feel-good show. And it happens at the same time as in Ivoryton, we have our Ivoryton Illumination, so all the holiday lights go on December 3rd. Okay. So if you go to see the Wonderettes after that, you'll be walking into a little snowball of a wonderland.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Yes, it is really great.
How does 2023 look?
Well, I'm going to have to get my glasses for that because I want to give you the correct information.
Okay.
But we've worked hard at this. I still have a TBD for the last show because I'm waiting on a tour, but if we get it, it's going to be tremendous. So we're opening our season on April the 6th with The Legend of Georgia McBride. This is a wonderful show. It's about this young man who's an Elvis impersonator in Florida, that he works at this local bar club, but it's not getting the sales that it once had. So the guy who runs the club decides to invite a relative up from New York to do something new, and they're drag queens. So we go from Elvis impersonators to drag queens, and when one of the drag queens falls off the stage, Casey is called on to step in, and he can't tell his wife, who's pregnant at home, or his friends that he is now in full drag queen garb. But it is funny, it is charming, it is tender. There's a lot of lip syncing and dancing, and I think it'll be a fun way to start the season. It is a way for us to target younger and newer audiences at a time when a lot of our older audience is still in Florida. And it's also Matthew Lopez wrote this piece, and it's a fairly new play, so it gives us one new play in the season.
Sounds good.
That runs till April 30th. May 18th, we'll be opening on Golden Pond, which of course is an old chestnut, but a wonderful old chestnut. And we revisited the script. Ernest Thompson, who wrote the piece, is still alive, and he has revised it somewhat. And I just think it's charming. It connects us with the Kate. We're gonna be borrowing one of Kate's dresses to have in the lobby when we do this show. Yeah, so that will be a nice May, Mother's Day show for us. Thursday, June 29th, we open The Sound of Music, which is a great, strong way, I think, to open the summer. We're really thrilled to have some old favorites back joining us for that. David Pitzinger will be taking on the role of Von Trapp. He was our Emile Debec in South Pacific, and he was Broadway's Emile Debec on South Pacific. So that's wonderful. And his wife, Patricia Schumann, who also has a tremendous voice, will be playing the Mother Abbess. Adrian Hick, who was our Nellie in South Pacific, is coming back to play Maria. And Bruce Connolly, who was with us a year ago as George Burns, will be back. So we're getting old family back for a real family show, and I think that will be a great way for us to start the summer.
Good.
August 10th, we'll be opening Jersey Boys, which is a nice contrast to The Sound of Music, but again, a popular show, popular appeal, great music, what's not to love. We'll have our tent open, which we now have a patio bar outside under the tent, so who knows, we may be having some dancing after some shows, and I think that's a fun summer show for us. We're following this. We usually in September do a show that schools can come and see, because traditionally that's the time when we invite schools. But we're one-upping it a little this year. It's actually going to be a big musical, The Color Purple, because the book is a very relevant book and still taught in schools, but the musical has the most wonderful score of pop, jazz, gospel. Talk about an uplifting ending. I mean, it's a hard story, but the ending of that show is phenomenal. I saw it on Broadway, and it still gives me chills thinking about it. Todd Underwood, my co-artistic director, is directing that, and I know that's going to be a phenomenal show. And then I don't know what the Christmas show is. Well, I do, but I can't announce it until they give me. But let me just tell you, it's going to be a musical, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
One of the things I realized in our interview this morning was that your auditioning process can happen in New York City.
We do audition.
You're an Equity House.
We are an Equity House.
Okay,
yes.
Tell us what that is.
So what I do is I post auditions on the website for anybody listening who's interested. We do audition in Ivoryton first, always. Sometimes we do it on a show-by-show basis, but this year we're having 2 full days in January, and the date will be posted on the website in Ivoryton for all the shows. So if there's any show that you are interested in, you can come to those auditions. We'll have a piano player available, so it will be music and, plain speaking auditions. in Ivoryton before we go to New York. And I will be casting, for example, I will be casting the children for Sound of Music locally. I will be casting the nuns probably locally. So there's a lot of opportunities. And I have often found principals locally who are not equity. You don't have to be equity to be a principal in one of our shows. Our contract allows us 50-50, 50% equity and 50% non-equity. Now, some of our shows, we do have all equity shows if it's a small cast and I need that. But certainly for the bigger shows, there's plenty of room for local people.
The website, you mentioned it.
Yes.
Tell us what the viewer will find when they visit it.
Okay, you will go to
Goodspeed.org.
Ivoryton Playhouse.
Ivoryton.org.
Ivorytonplayhouse.org. But looking for auditions, I think it is under, yikes, I should have looked this up. It's a drop down under About Us or how to get involved. That's what it's under, how to get involved.
And when they're on the website, you have an archivist that's doing some things there.
We do, and we were hoping to open this a year ago, but it's taken longer than we thought. We have an amazing young woman, Emma Gerstin, who has been working on our archives for a year now, and she has scanned thousands and thousands of newspaper articles, playbills, photographs. It's going to be a stunning archive, and she's on to the last lap of it now. So hopefully by February, March of next year, we'll be able to open that. Will be a link from our website you'll be able to go to, and you will find the whole rich history of theater in Ivoryton.
Young people, children, do you have an education program or internships, any kind of something for them?
We always did, but COVID hit us hard. I mean, we are still operating on a staff of around 60% of what we were. We are looking for, same as the Goodspeed, carpenters, builders, technical directors, administrative staff. We are paying more than we ever paid. We just are having a very hard time finding people. So there's a lot of opportunities there. I am hoping that we might be able to open the intern program again this summer, but you cannot start programs without somebody to run them. And so that's a project that I'm working on right now, and I hope to have that in place. It may just be technical theater interns this summer, but you know, hopefully within the next year or two, if we can build back up to capacity, we'll be able to have a full intern program. One woman who I am hiring for next year is very interested in bringing back our educational programs. So that is also on the cards. But it is all down to being able to find people to do that for us, you know.
Do you find the audience or the performers have difficulty finding you? Where do they stay? Where do they park? It's such a quaint little area there.
We're absolutely easy to find.
Okay.
Because we're very easy, often on 95 and 9, and well signposted now. And for example, Wednesday matinees, there are always buses. And they love coming because we have a whole parking lot just for them. They find it very easy to drop off right in front of the theater, park the bus, come back and get them. So we have not, no. I think since the state finally put us up on the highways, we're actually easy to find now. I do have a funny story though. Milton Stiefel in the 30s got Ivoryton on the map. Ivoryton wasn't listed on any Rand McNally, with the big maps at the time, wasn't there, just Essex. And he hounded them and got people from all over to write to them to finally get Ivoryton. I think it was 1934, Milton Stiefel got Ivoryton Playhouse on the Rand McNally map.
Oh my goodness,
amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
You just have to keep pestering and you get it done.
How has it been for you? Let's talk about you personally. How has it been being there 30 years?
I have to say, this year I was beginning to feel it. I don't know what it is. It's probably my age or whatever. I was beginning to feel it. I was very rejuvenated by the success of the summer shows, but getting through COVID was tiring. Not just me, everybody in the office was pretty, I think, worn down by it. We had a wonderful event at the end of October, our Women Playwrights Festival. Mm-hmm. And I think that for all of us turned on a little switch to say, you know what, we still got it. We had a wonderful turnout. We flew in writers from California, from Georgia, one from New York, I can't even remember where now. And we had over 200 plays submitted. The response was phenomenal. We had a great audience, and we all said at the end of it, we felt, oh, here it is. Here's that ripple that we needed to say, oh, we're still doing something really relevant here and important. And we started planning next year straight away. And I think that, you know, we're sort of riding that little wave a bit now. But I have to say, in all honesty, we were tired this year. We're largely women. Well, our office is all women of a certain age. And I think we were beginning to feel just tired and worn. We are hiring some younger people, and that's been wonderful, but we need to hire more. We need to keep that young energy coming in, you know, to the theater.
Well, we have run out of time,
okay.
So I want to thank you so much for being here. It's been wonderful.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Deborah.
And you've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. Thanks so much for being here today. And in case you're interested in volunteering, I'd love to have you. Please contact me at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time.